I want to bring in billionaire investor and Paul Mitchell co-founder John Paul DeJoria. John, good to see you. Thanks for joining us, sir.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. So nice to be here. Quite an exciting night last night.
It really was. What was your takeaway?
Well, not being a big fan of Donald Trump's because of his demeanor during, of course, the primaries, that speech last night was a great speech, a really great speech. He had a couple of things that are very, very important for the American public to know, and hopefully he'll follow through with them. One, a lot of those bills that were passed were never read. For example, Obamacare, very few people read it. But when he talked about bringing jobs back to America and really looking at some of these trade agreements, I know that some of the things he's saying can easily be done to bring American jobs back. Example, at Paul Mitchell, the majority of all of our liquid hair care products are made in the United States of America. We could have saved money by going abroad, but figured out ways to be able to do it economically enough where we can make it in the United States and pay American workers, so obviously we'll be our customers also at the same time. So there's a lot of really, really good things that I liked. Another thing, too, that was interesting, and not a lot of people are talking about it, is towards the end, he talked about Bernie Sanders didn't have a chance. Now, whether you agree with Bernie Sanders' politics or not, he is a good man. He was very, very honest. And he talked about business as usual. It was very upsetting for a lot of people these last few years, for example, when they wanted to put on all the packaging, no GMOs, or GMOs in my product, genetic modified, ingredients. But yet it was stopped in Congress. Well, wait a minute. How can this be stopped in Congress and the Senate when it's good for all people? Well, maybe there's some people that make money by not putting no GMOs on there. So he had a very good point there. There's a lot of influence going on that should not be going on in our politics, which would be good for our economy and our people.
I'm going to bring in the panel because I've been trying to figure out, you guys, all week where business is. Is business with Trump or not? And it feels like small and mid-cap business, like Paul's company, is with Trump. But the larger multinationals, the globalists,
I agree with that,
are very upset with him.
And I think that Donald Trump needs to make the case that he's better for the economy, he's better for investors. I wonder if, John, does the charge that he's a trade protectionist, and by the way, he did not use the term tariffs last night. I don't believe he talked about tariffs. But, John, does that concern you? Because I know with a lot of your colleagues in the business community, there's a concern that, that there would be a shutdown in trade. I didn't hear that last night. What about you?
No, I didn't hear it at all last night, and there won't be a shutdown in trade because both sides still benefit. No matter who you're doing business with, they still benefit. Yep. But I think what scares some of the bigger businesses, and again, with all due respect, is he's saying it's not going to be business as usual. And with all due respect, our government does give a lot of grants to a lot of big companies that make a lot of money that shouldn't really be getting those grants. So with all due respect, like I say, with all due respect, it's still a lot of who we're going to vote for. I saw Sarah Palin do the greatest speech in the world about 8 years ago. I went to both conventions. I thought, wow, is that a powerful lady? And then, of course, months later, it wasn't quite the same. So let's see how it rolls out. But he hit some very good points that are real. Points politicians would not hit because it affects some of their big donors. And I've got to give him credit with all the respect. And no matter what I think of the man's demeanor, he did good last night.
John Paul, it's JP, it's Dagan McDowell. In terms of what else do you need to hear from him? Was there anything that also upset you last night that you heard?
I think what I'd like to hear from him, maybe the best way to put it is, what are some of the guarantees and how is he going to do it? With all due respect, how are you going to do it? At first you were going to build that wall and have Mexico pay for it. Well, that's not going to happen. I don't think Mexico's going to pay for a wall. Donald, you have a lot of great things that you said, a lot of good things, but exactly how are you going to do it? That's what I'd love to hear. How are you going to do it? We in business say, we're going to do this, we're going to market this, but here's how we're going to do it, and then we go forth with our plans. Donald, how are you going to do it, buddy?
Yeah, and you hope, JP, that we get more substance in these next couple of months. I don't know. Meanwhile, another top name in business, the co-founder of PayPal, technology billionaire Peter Thiel, one of the speakers, and he spoke last night and touched on the progress of the technology industry, but highlighted the issues that remain for communities across the country. Listen to this. I'd like to get your reaction, JP.
Where I work in Silicon Valley, it's hard to see where America has gone wrong. My industry has made a lot of progress in computers and in software, and of course, it's made a lot of money. But Silicon Valley is a small place. Drive out to Sacramento, or even across the bridge to Oakland, and you won't see the same prosperity. I don't pretend to agree with every plank in our party's platform, but fake culture wars only distract us from our economic decline. And nobody in this race is being honest about it except Donald Trump.
Reaction, John Paul.
He's right. He is right.
Yeah.
We have such a great country, and we have so many great pools out there of people that can get things done, people that work with their hands as well as their minds, and it's not being spread everywhere. And I think by bringing more business back to the United States and really looking at how we're doing it, we're looking at our own growth. And something two people must really realize: when American people and workers grow, companies grow, because then your customer locally has enough money to buy something and do something, and they're happier with their lives. And a lot of what's going on the street, people shooting people and everything else, a lot of this may not happen in the future because people have more jobs, they'll have more responsibility, more of a reason to be part of an economy that's working for everybody. So once again, they hit on some really, really good points, and again, we need that plan on how you're going to do it and incorporate everybody into it, not just a few.
Yeah, it's a really good point. John Paul DeJoria, great to see you, sir. Thanks so much.
Always a pleasure.
We'll see you soon. Thank you so much, sir.